We have Cut and Dry Restoration here today. Not only are they our valued vendors, but they were also a sponsor of the KW Bingo event, which helped make it a great success. Thank you for everybody that participated. And today they're going to tell you about all their amazing services they have. You might have heard them before at one of the team meetings, but they're a huge resource. And one of the reasons why we really like them is because they just add an extra added value to your services that you can give your clients, and they can really give you an edge compared to another real estate agent. They have a lot of amazing, I'm going to let you speak, but anyways.
Yeah, no, you're right on point.
This is cool. So if you guys could welcome them, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, no, you're on point with that. We do have a huge network of not just the restoration folks, within our company, but we also have a very large network of just different contractors, whether it's roofers, general contractors, which we're a general contractor as well, specialty people like asbestos and all kinds of different stuff. And you look familiar. I think you were here the last time I spoke.
Maybe.
Yeah. And if anybody else was here, I actually have the same exact presentation, so I hope you
I must have forgot it all.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm that memorable, yeah.
Just trying to make
I remember you at
positive.
least. I apologize, I don't remember your name, but I do remember you. I think you had some very good questions, which is probably why I kind of remember you a little bit. Was anybody else here the last time I was here? Is anybody? Okay. All right. I apologize if this sounds repetitive, but they say in sales anyways, and you guys are all kind of in sales, people don't remember something until you tell them 7 times. So 7 more of these and you guys might send me a job.
Yeah,
No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to make you go sit through this 7 times. But yeah, thanks again, Robert, for having us. My name's Eric Stansel. I'm the sales manager at Cut and Dry Restoration. I've been in the business for about 13 years now, and started at the ground, worked my way up. I started doing the work, whether it was cutting out water damaged drywall, removing flooring, setting up drying up equipment, different things like that. Worked my way up through the company. I've been with the same company the whole time, and I've done estimating, I've done project managing. I've actually had to run the whole company. At one point, we got to a size where it was like, okay, we need a full-blown sales team. So I became the sales manager, and then, like Joel was just talking about, we have 3 sales reps underneath me. He's Los Angeles County. Then we have
Orange County.
Orange County. Yes, thank you, Joel. And then we also have San Bernardino County and Riverside County reps. But we do go outside of that area. We do kind of cover all of Southern California. So that's just kind of the background. I mean, he actually comes from, Joel, his background, he actually comes from the insurance industry. Do you want to talk on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, for about 8 years, I had my own brokerage, and then before that, I worked with a small brokerage out of Corona as well. And then, that took a little dive into logistics for a little bit, and then eventually found my way over here with Cut and Dry. Been with them since January. So this coming January will be my 1-year anniversary with Cut and Dry. And on a personal note, if I'm not working for Cut and Dry, I'm an assistant coach for a softball travel team. So 11 months out of the year, on the weekends I'm out in the fields and working with my daughter's team and some of the players with their development as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And whenever we have our weekly sales meetings, we kind of talk about our personal life, positives in our personal life and positives in our professional life. And he's always talking about softball. Softball with his daughters.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't do as good, but she played great, or we won.
Yeah.
So that's really neat. Thank you, Joel. So for those of you that don't know what we do, we're a restoration company. We provide services like water damage cleanup, mold remediation, asbestos removal, sewer contaminants removal, fire damage, right? And a lot of the stuff that you guys are coming across when you're going and doing inspections within buildings and stuff like that. You guys might work with inspection companies, home inspection companies that come in and do inspections on, I'm sure they expect inspections on commercial property as well as residential, so probably the same thing. So if you kind of come across some of that stuff, we can help mitigate those issues that you can't overlook.
Yeah, we actually got a commercial job this morning in Chino. They had a pipe burst there and a lot of damage to interior, some of the drywall, so.
Was it a business or
It was business.
Yeah?
It was business.
Yeah. Who's that from? Sorry, guys.
Hoff.
Huh?
Tom
Oh,
Hoff.
okay. Yeah. And so, you know, so like I said, I've been doing this 13 years, and a lot of the times I would ask some of our different clients that give us work, people that we ask for referrals, you know, what's your main pain point when working with restoration companies or even projects in general as far as construction goes? And probably the most common theme we get is communication. And a lot of people can just come in here and say, hey, we do a good job of communication. And a lot of people do just say that, right? And it's really hard to back up. It's really hard to actually follow through on good communication. To be honest with you, Joel's probably better at communication than myself. But as far as our company in general, we actually developed a department dedicated to communication. It's called the C3 department, stands for Client Care Communication. And we have full-time employees that their single job is making sure that the customer knows what's going on, the person that referred the job, if they need to know what's going on, such as yourselves. And then if there's a tenant involved, you got property managers involved, and then if for some reason they want to file a claim and there's adjusters involved, there's a lot of different parties that need communication. And so their sole purpose is to make sure that everybody knows what's going on with the project. Also, communication within our organization, making sure one hand knows what the other one's doing. And so when we say we do a good job of communication, we put our money where our mouth is. And we've developed that over about the last 3 years. So whenever you call the number that's the 24/7 emergency hotline, you always get a professionally trained cut and dry restoration employee. That's the C3 department. So they always have a computer in front of them. They'll be able to look up the file, get any information you need on whatever's going on with that particular project. So that's what makes us different in how we help. Right, and so here's some of the jobs that we like to kind of point out. These are the same ones that I pointed out last time I was here. In the upper left-hand corner, you have a kitchen that's just kind of an average, normal, everyday kitchen. Doesn't really look like there's a lot of damage going on there. And then the graffiti. We do all types of vandalism, not just graffiti, but a lot of issues that we're having nowadays are like the squatters that come in and completely thrash a property, whether it's commercial or residential. We can come in and get that cleaned up. If any testing needs to be done, whether it's for hazardous material, drugs, whatever it might be, we can have somebody come in and test, and then we can do the work based on the protocol that they give us as far as the testing goes. And I could talk a lot about vandalism, also board ups as well. We have broken windows, and then so that's the graffiti. And then over here we have just a sink with some black stuff under it. Anybody here know what that is?
No.
Mold, yeah.
I am not a mold expert.
No. But just about anybody can look at that and say, you have mold, right? And so a lot of people are like, it's a 4-letter word, you don't say mold. And I guess in some situations you might want to abide by that, but when it's pretty obvious, you're not getting around it, there's an issue that needs to be taken care of there. And this happened to be a business in Rancho Cucamonga. That was in their break room. So, and then the fire down below, this was caused by a coffee maker at a donut shop. And a lot of times, a lot of people, when they think of fires, they think of whole burnouts. Obviously at the mountain fire, we got a lot going on there right now. A lot of structures is being burnt to the ground. But most fire damage claims and projects are small like this. Cause a lot of damage within the building, and we have to come in and kind of clean that up. So I'll show you on the next slide what that looks like. Okay, so in the upper left-hand corner is the kitchen that didn't have any water damage. With moisture detecting equipment, we were able to see within the wall, within the cabinets, and found quite a bit of water damage that needed to be mitigated. So sometimes it's stuff you can't see that needs to be taken care of. And then I just found out recently that we've done this wall like 7 times. They keep coming back and hitting it. I guess our operations manager, Garrett, knows a little bit more about this than I do, but we have this chemical that takes the spray paint off, but not the original paint.
So no sandblast?
I'm sure that's part of the process, but we got this specific chemical that works great. And so I think we started on this wall. I don't know how long. Do you remember how long ago it was? Not yet. recently, unfortunately, and I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, unfortunately, the property manager goes, how come every time you come out here, it's a little bit more? Well, I think we all know why.
Yes.
So, anyways, we've had to clean that wall up quite a few times. And then, you see, this job here has already been remediated. It's got a temporary seat there, and that's something I like to point out to everybody that I talk to, is we do have the C36, which is a plumbing license. So we can keep folks in business while projects going on, such as this one. Employees can still wash their hands and be sanitary and have a place to take their breaks. We also, can install temporary water heaters, you name it, we can install a temporary fixture for those types of jobs. We don't advertise for for plumbing service, but we are able to provide it for the folks that we're doing restoration for. And then the bottom picture is just the fire that we cleaned up. Obviously a lot of work that had to be done there. Excuse me. Board ups, we do board ups in the middle of the night. If you guys need us out to a job, commercial job, and they're calling you saying, hey, you got anybody to do a board up? I gotta get this done before the authorities leave, get the building, secure, for security reasons, obviously. So, this was an optometrist. I don't think it was vandalism, I think it was just an accident or something like that, but, we boarded that place up, just an example there. And then these are some of the different, examples of how we can kind of take care of a mitigation. The top left is a pretty nice kitchen, and we didn't want to go in and just rip all the drywall out of the ceiling. There was a burst pipe in the bathroom up above, literally raining through the lights and stuff like that. We were able to get there on time to clean the water up in the kitchen so that the water didn't damage the kitchen. And then obviously we were able to, duct in the hot warm air to dry the cavities in the ceiling without causing too much repair work after the mitigation. And then you can see this water heater here. This is another example of our C36 plumbing license and keeping the customer comfortable while we're doing the remediation. This is really neat. Adjusters like to see this. When there's a claim going on and you have a water heater like this in the house, the reason they like this is because without hot water, I would consider the house non-inhabitable, right? And so if a house is not inhabitable, the adjuster sometimes is liable to put them up in a hotel, put them up in an Airbnb. This is gonna cost them a lot less money than putting, locating the residents somewhere else, so people like that. And then this is just a mold job we did at the Barstow Community Hospital, and this is just a really good example of our dust control and containment jobs that we do. Any questions so far? I'll probably ask again when we're done, so cover everybody, no problem. So like I was saying, Los Angeles, San Bernardino, Riverside, Orange counties, we do all of Southern California. I don't know how big area you guys cover as far as your customers, but I would imagine it's probably not too far out of it though, huh?
No, I don't really go into Orange County, but LA for sure, San Bernardino, Riverside.
Yeah, LA is where we're at, so we service all those areas, and response time we guarantee same day. If it's an emergency, we'll get out there within an hour or two, and get anything taken care of that needs to be.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Are your employees jacks at all trades, or do you hire subcontractors? How does that work?
It depends on the job, but specifically for water and fire damage, we have our own employees.
Okay.
Mold as well.
I see.
We send them to schooling to make sure they're certified in the areas that we expect them to work.
Okay.
And then of course, as a company, we have all the licenses that you need to have.
Gotcha.
Really for any job you guys would send our way.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually did this is kind of off subject, but we recently did a job in Claremont where a plumber called us and said, hey, I don't have the bandwidth, I don't have the manpower. We ended up digging up the street, running a mainline sewer, which was hooked up to a Starbucks, a Zaki Mediterranean, and a Denny's. It's actually on Indian Hill and Contemporary, but I don't know if you know that area.
Yeah.
We ended up digging up out of the street, and the reason we're able to do that is because we have what's called a general engineering license, which is, well, actually I don't remember, but I have it here. So when I get back to that, I'll bring that up again. So this is all the certifications that we have within our company. These are what we expect our employees. We have them on a employee success program where where they're there for a certain amount of time, and then they get the certification, and then they get to move up in the company. So we have it very well structured so that all levels of the workforce, are properly certified. Sorry, I hard time getting that out. I always like showing this picture. It's fun. This is the common pass. Speaking of fires, this is this is the Foscheck that the airplane dropped to make sure the building didn't burn down. This is right next to the McDonald's gas station and the McDonald's right there at the 138 and the 15 freeway.
Yeah.
Where you can go through there on the way to Vegas or whatever. But yeah, we were called out to do an estimate for the cleanup. Yeah, as you can imagine, it's quite the mess.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for me personally, mold is the biggest deal that an inspector always finds.
Yep.
A black box, right? So if we were to call you out to come, let's say it's mold underneath
The kitchen sink.
the,
Yeah.
do you charge the client to come out and actually diagnose it and you take a swab and test it? Or what does that look like?
So our inspection is gonna be a visual inspection and a moisture detecting inspection. That's free.
Okay.
We come out and we'll do the free inspection and we'll do the free estimate
Okay.
in hopes that we get to do the work.
Okay.
Right? So while our guys there, they're gonna try to sell the job and obviously try to get the job. Now, if you open up a cabinet and our inspector says, I see mold,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if it's black, like the picture I showed you guys, you could kind of save cost on a test and know that you have mold and treat it as mold and do a mold remediation on that area.
Okay.
Or you can get what's called a pre-mold test. And what that is it's an uninterested third party company that comes in and does the test and then they come back and say, yes, you have a mold problem and here's how we recommend you remedy it. And then we would come in and do the work based on their protocol. And then whether you get it tested first or not, we always get it tested after our work. And then you have documentation saying this area is free of a mold problem. So you actually have documentation later, so like
once you remedy them.
yeah, so like the buyer would have documentation showing that it was done, and
Okay.
it just clears everybody liable,
Okay.
all parties, and that's why mold's such a big deal, is just for that piece of documentation that says, hey, we came in here, we took care of it, it's documented that it's clear. So, make sure you do an air clearance, test the air, and it comes back either negative or positive. And I'm just gonna elaborate on that a little bit. Mold is everywhere, all the time. And the way that they determine whether or not you have a mold issue is if they go in, so let's say you brought in a testing company, they check underneath the sink, they do some block, air clearance, whatever it is. If they find mold that is higher levels than it is outside, it's a mold problem. If they find mold that's not native to the area outside, it's a mold problem. So just the presence of mold doesn't necessarily mean, in the air, most importantly, you have a mold problem. But if it's higher levels than outside or not native to the area, then you have a mold problem. And just a little bit of background on mold. And some of it's more dangerous than others. Right? So.
And the turnaround on the testing is usually within 24, 48 hours.
Okay.
On average, 24 hours would be a test result.
Okay.
Yeah, because they literally take to a lab, they grow it in a dish, and then they look at it.
So the process is pretty quick.
Do you do radon remediation?
Radon, I've heard of it. I don't know.
This was a problem I encountered in this service. It's possible it's not even an issue
Yeah.
around here, but in our basements, everybody tested for radon and tried to say a little vacuum that would blow the radon out the side of the house. And I just guess that's not around here.
Yeah, I don't think it is. It's a building material, right?
It's actually a gas.
It's a gas, okay.
Yeah, from old mines.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not something we've come across. That's not to say we.
That's a good answer. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something we've come across, but I'm sure, if we did, we could find probably somebody that we could, point us in the right direction and
Yeah.
figure out how to, mitigate that. But I've heard the term, I haven't looked it up. I'm gonna look that up. Radon.
Except from
Yeah.
mines.
Yeah,
Mines and-
exactly. A lot of homes in the Midwest,
Ah.
the inspectors will charge you extra to do the radon test, and then they'll say, oh, I can also remediate that for you for an extra $800 or whatever it
Yeah, and they probably just put a negative air machine in there and blow the air out. Yeah.
Just make it new business.
Yeah, but I don't know, it's like, Missouri compared to California, the EPA and our, compliance thresholds are much higher here than they are in Missouri, so I don't know if just blowing it outside would be, I seriously thought it'd be okay here in California.
Yeah.
You'd have to like.
There's not too many zones, I mean, it's on an MHD.
Okay.
And they're more in the hills, especially in like Sun Valley and stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen it once, but,
Not common.
Not,
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's some mining districts here in Southern California, but they're pretty rural, they're pretty remote.
it's a naturally occurring gas.
Got it.
It's,
But it probably
I
comes
think
up
it's
with
everywhere,
more.
but the MHD has zones where it's a little bit higher, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely research that. Good question. Okay, so our license number is here, 1013757. If you guys ever wanna look us up on the CSLB, all of our licenses are active, all of our insurances are active. There's only one here that I haven't listed, and that's HVAC, and that's because we don't advertise for it, we don't really have anybody on staff to take care of HVAC. We do have HVAC contractors within our network that we work with, if ever anybody needs a referral for that. But the main ones we like to point out is, it's the A, general engineering, that's what I was talking about earlier. C36 is plumbing. B is general building, so we're licensed to not just do the remediation or mitigation, but we're also licensed to do the repair work. If we're not able to get to that repair work, we do have a very large network of contractors that would fill in to make sure that our clients are taken care of within a good amount of time, in a timely manner. So general building, C10 electrical, we have an electrician on staff. When you're dealing with water damage, especially specifically floods, you might come across electrical hazards, and at that point we would have to call our electrician out first before entering an area and making sure that it's safe to do so for obvious reasons. And then asbestos certification through the CSLB. I don't know if you guys know about asbestos, but that's a big thing. Not just here in California, but across the nation. They say that you can have one microscopic fiber, or you could have a bunch. And it affects everybody differently, but people are showing cancer 20, 30 years later, which as I get older I realize it's not very much time. 20, 30 years is not very long. so I'm like, I got 20 years, I don't. Somebody told me this stuff would give me something like that in 20 years, and I definitely want to stay away
But
from
to
it.
be fair, asbestos is only a problem if it's disturbed,
That's correct, yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay, let's clarify that.
So for example, if this drywall has asbestos in it, you wanted to like widen out this bathroom. Before you remove the drywall, you'd get it tested. If it has asbestos, you'd have to keep
Right.
the area off and do it so that the asbestos doesn't contaminate the rest of the building. And there's controls and filters and PPE that's put in place to do those types of jobs. But SCAQMD, Southern California Air Quality Management District, says that if the building was built yesterday, you have to test it before doing any demo, which almost nobody follows, right? As long as it's pretty new, most contractors don't use, old stuff from wherever, China or whatever it is, asbestos. So there's a very good probability that there's no asbestos, but asbestos is still legal to use in building materials. A lot of people think it's illegal. It is not. It's still legal to use in any building material you want. There's a very high liability issue when you use that stuff for obvious reasons. So a lot of contractors are doing their best to stay away from materials that contain asbestos. But you can go down to Home Depot right now, buy a can of roof mastic, black glue-looking, tar-looking stuff, and it says right on the side of the can contains mineral fibers, which is asbestos. They don't even say asbestos on there. They just say mineral fibers, and it's got the poison sign, skull and crossbones. And you can literally go to Home Depot and buy asbestos-containing material and put it on your roof. Right now, yeah. So
Who reads the fine print?
it's a big deal.
I mean,
It-
breathing air in Southern California could kill you too, so.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so, whatever, we take risks.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what they're trying to get away from with all these rules and regulations, so. Whole nother conversation for a whole nother. That's more like.
That's gonna be your third.
That's gonna be the happy hour conversation. And that's basically the end of everything I have. I think they told me I had an hour or a half hour, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we need that.
We're good? Yeah. So, yeah, if you guys have any more questions, we'd love to hear from you, but, specifically, if you guys come across anything at all and have any question whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to Joel, reach out to me. And, you know, we might say, hey, you're good, we don't even need to come out, or we can come out and give you a free evaluation, right? And say, hey, yes, this is an issue, or no, this isn't an issue at all. If you
Especially
have-
when it relates to mold, you know, there's gonna be a lot of uncertainty on that, you know, you don't wanna, scare off property managers or owners or anything like that, just, you know what, just to be safe, I'm gonna get cut and dry out here to, do the pre-inspection, evaluate it, and then we'll take the next steps if necessary, if needed.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously you don't wanna call us out for nothing, but you can let your clients know, hey, this is a no obligation, this is gonna give you peace of mind on whether or not, you have an issue, and it's definitely not gonna hurt anything, because if there is an issue, it's good to know. And it's good to know if there is no issue, right? And you're clear, right? So you got that peace of mind as well.
So a general inspector, you don't, I don't even know what my question is, so never mind.
Yeah.
I tried.
I mean, an inspector that we send out, is gonna do, like I said, a visual inspection, and they have moisture detecting equipment to make sure, that there's no damage. If there's moisture detected, there's a possibility of mold within cavities where the moisture is, right? So we would photo document that, and also document the readings that we get, and we could, email that to you, if you have to send it to a client or something like that. Yeah, we could absolutely do that.
I'm sorry, is there such a thing as mold, like, certification?
Yeah, there is.
So, okay,
Yep. And it's
Yeah,
through,
you showed us
it's
that.
through IICRC,
okay,
which is the Institute of Inspection, Cleaning, Restoration.
okay,
These are the folks that teach restoration technicians how to do specific jobs. But yeah, mold remediation is a certification. Yeah.
okay. So I think where you were going, I don't hear you, sorry. Rick, is the inspectors that we hire, or the buyer hires, they're general, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna tell you, like, hire a mold specialist for further investigation.
Yeah.
So that's these guys.
So you're talking about property inspectors, right?
Yeah, I guess we'll see how that ties in.
Right. So we are, our inspectors are not property inspectors. They're
Right.
specific to
Specific.
the services that we provide.
Okay.
Again,
Yeah,
water.
they're structural.
Right, right. Although we are licensed to do structural, it's, our inspectors are geared towards finding the water damage, mold damage,
Okay.
hey, even like
So
dry
we would call
rot.
them secondary, no,
Yeah.
because
We're just
they're
saying,
gonna
we're
find
do
mold.
all this.
Yeah.
And what happens for us, because we're mostly residential, is the inspector will say, oh, black-like substance, because he's not a specialist, and then we're like, oh, that's mold. But they're not supposed to say that, and then we need to go find a mold specialist to
Right.
come out and take a look and say, yes, that is mold. and
Because
how
technically
can we
that
work-
person's not certified in
Right.
mold, and they don't actually test for
Right.
mold, and so they can't say for a certain that it's
Correct.
mold.
Yeah.
Right.
And depending on the buyer, sometimes the buyer's like, no problem, I'll just cut the drywall out, put a new piece of drywall, and we're
We're
good.
good. Yeah.
Or clean it with bleach and we're good.
Yeah.
Or you have some buyers that are like, oh no, I need to get
That's gotta be
that, I
done
need,
before,
I need a second opinion. and
Or you guys use it as a way to knock down the closing
Correct.
costs, right?
Correct.
And I know
But
there's a
with
roundabout
mold-
way of doing that,
But
but yeah.
with mold and these types of things, that's a health and safety concern,
Oh, yeah.
so.
Especially if they have, children or elderly
Yes.
folks,
Yeah, so it
that
needs
could
to
be a big
be
concern.
fixed.
Yeah. Yeah. But some of those other repairs, you guys kind of use that as leverage to
Yeah.
help out the client. Yeah. Mold is, like you said, different, and even just water damage, right? If there's no mold yet, no visible mold, water damage is something that does need to be handled.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so.
And the best way to call in, or report it is either, call the number or call our office, we are 24/7. Or you can text me the information, or Eric, my number's on the top right-hand corner. Bottom number on the card and what's on the brochures is for our office. And the only thing we're gonna ask for is some basic pieces of information, who's the responsible party, the primary contact, address, and contact phone number. and a brief description on what the issue is.
And when he says responsible, what he means is, who are we gonna ask to pay for it to work?
And if
That's
it's not
important.
covered through insurance or,
Yeah.
they're just who's gonna be authorized to sign.
So you do deal with insurance?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
right now, probably 80–90% of our work is billed through insurance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And most of the work we see is from plumbing failure. You know, whether it's an overflowing toilet, burst supply line. Sometimes you just get something that's been leaking a long time and the place is just nasty. You know, stuff like that. You know, some of our biggest ones are flat leaks, water heaters. Yeah. And then of course, when it starts raining, you know, we start getting insurance agencies calling us because I'll have clients call in like, what do we do? A lot of issues during the rainy season, even here in California.
As I said, we do offer financing as well, but, you know, again, that might interfere with, you know, kind of the loan that they're getting on the property and stuff like that, so just, you know, that would be case by case basis.
Yeah, we gotta weigh your options.
Yeah.
But we do offer self-pay financing if anybody needs to pay out of pocket. Yeah.
Are you guys only in California?
For now, we are. Yeah. Do you have something out of
Specific
state?
Southern California.
Yeah, well, we do a lot of work in Arizona as well.
Oh,
Well, that's good.
yeah, we're not quite out there yet. I mean, if it's something that's huge, probably definitely might go out there. I have a place in Topak. I don't know if you know that area. Yeah.
We're close to, we got into life.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah. Yeah, we've gone pretty far.
Charming town.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, really bad when there's no water.
Yeah.
There's nothing there then. Well, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed lunch.
Your lunch.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Nice to meet
Very
you.
likewise. Joel.
Yeah, just make sure you remember us when you come across those
Yes,
things,
yes.
please. Yeah.
So there's box lunches up here along with some lemonade and some green tea up here for you to enjoy. All right, well,
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that would, how that would work, you know?
well, I mean, and again, you know, I would assume that we would, as long as there's enough, cushion for, to be able to allow payment for their services. It all depends on how much money they're at. But,
Yeah, so
it
like
shouldn't be an
a
issue.
30-day net or something like that, where like if it closes and then it would come out of escrow, is that what you mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would think that somebody would have to sign for responsibility of payment. Yeah. Yeah, and then,
So what they're signing is a contingency also, insurance doesn't cover it, or.
No, no, that's
or-
right. You leave it self-assured.
And again, you know, we do offer the financing, but again, they're already.
Let me run that, let me run that by my wife
Mortgage
tonight, and then I'll RSVP.
An issue there, but, it is available.
yeah. I think you were here last time too, right?
No.
You look for better, no?
I think they were on right here.
Okay.
And then this gentleman was new, I believe, also.
No, I remember.
Yeah, the B guy.
No, yeah, he was in here.
No, he was in, he was.
Rick was over here. Last time.
You guys have like photographic memory.
No,
I was here last time.
No,
Remember that?
my memory's probably just making stuff up.
He already committed to something. He
Yeah, yeah, yeah.